Hi there. Welcome to the energy fuckery for the week, March 8th to March 14th. My name is Analia, and I will be your energetic translator for the astrological fuckery this coming week, week 2 in March 2026. What have you got for us? I mean, we're starting off with Scorpio moon, so we are pretty big and thick in the transformation, rebirth, betrayal, trust kind of vibes, okay? Then we're going to move into Sag, get a little bit more optimistic, but a little bit more rebellious and wild. And then Miss Capricorn Moon's going to take a bit of fucking responsibility. And that is how we will end the week moon-wise, okay? So starting off on Sunday, the 8th, the moon's going to square Pluto at 4 degrees. And we haven't had many of these, okay? I don't know if this is like the first or the second at 4 degrees. But we have not experienced this energy before in our lives. Pluto has not been at 4 degrees for very long. And the last time it was about 250 years ago. So we are releasing a lot of old ideas this week. The moon's going to meet up with Jupiter as well on Sunday, 3 days before it goes direct. And it's really going to help us bring some past ideals that we got from our family space generationally and ancestrally, bring those to actual depth so that we can rebirth. On Monday, Venus is going to conjunct Saturn at 2 degrees, and your money shit is going to be fucking wild. Mercury trines Jupiter retrograding as well. This does read to me, and we will get into it a little bit more, like there is going to be some unexpected shit going down in the money stuff. Feel like just because Jupiter is retrograde and this is a 12-year cycle, we could be dealing with a lot of that 12 years investing kind of stuff, weird stuff going on, but the value of money is shifting under this Venus conjuncting Saturn, okay? So then on Tuesday, Sag moon rolls in on Tuesday. So that's going to like lift us a little bit. We won't be like as heavy in that Scorpio energy, but it is going to yes, have a harmonious conversation with Neptune and Saturn and Venus, but it will be fucking getting into it with Pluto and Mars, right? But however, Jupiter will go direct. So that's exciting. Jupiter goes direct on the 10th or the 11th, so Tuesday or Wednesday. So Wednesday. When you look at the aspects on Wednesday, and you'll see when you get to it, there's not a lot going on, apart from obviously the sun and the moon in a square, moment of friction, at the Scorpio retrograde. So that death and rebirth kind of energy that we're sort of floating around in, and then Jupiter goes direct, and Jupiter has been showing us things from the family space. Again, this is another karmic ancestral kind of energy feeling that I am seeing some real cutoff energy. If you haven't been able to release it still, this is the energy we're going to be able to do it in. Now, Thursday is a whole lot of adjusting bullshit. Whole lot of adjusting bullshit because we're going to have a cat moon. It's going to be like, take responsibility for shit, and it's going to square up to Neptune and Saturn. Friday the 13th, spooky shit. Friday the 13th, my friends, relationship fuckery will be fucking right. Because a Capricorn moon, take responsibility, is going to square up to Venus in Aries at 7 degrees, which is a relationship. So Friday the 13th, there is going to be some feisty fucking chatter going on. Good luck with that. However, the winner of the Astrological Fuckery of the Week award, which I'm going to start giving out, is going to be Saturday, March 14th. Saturday, March 14th, you win the award. You are going to be transforming our ideas around what we're here to learn, what we're here to do, right? The discomfort zone, the new thing that we're in. While we're in that transformative kind of energy, we're looking at, yes, what we are here to learn, but there is a meeting with Mars as well. So how we're going to motivate ourselves towards it, how we're going to have value systems and boundaries that lead us to this new thing. We're looking at these values through these eyes of relationship because, as I said, this Mercury retrograde is so heavy on the relationship component because, of course, we get a lot of our trauma from there. We get a lot of our emotional programming from there, right? Relationships mirror our shit back to us. When we're looking at these values that we have been holding in relationships, we're kind of going to be looking at them on this 14th without what we're supposed to be. without rejecting the parts of us that we've been told to shame. So there's just wait till we get there. There's so much. But Big Daddy Capricorn Moon is going to also be having some words with the childhood wound placement and asking, now's time, take responsibility for this, take responsibility for how much space you take up or why you don't take it up, understand the wounding, right? Friction being caused in that inner component of the childhood wound so that we can evolve it, so that we can grow. And the last aspect that we end this fucking energetic fuckery with, and this is, it's the two-part situation of why March 14th wins. It's the Venus trining Lilith at 9:41 a.m. and then ending with Mars squaring Lilith at 11:01 p.m. So it's a big fucking week. All right, let's get into it. March 8th, what have you got for us? As you can see right there, we get to start off at 12:13 a.m. with the moon squaring Pluto at the Cancer degree, of course. So a lot of these Cancer degrees, 4 and 16, Jupiter in Cancer showing up. Like Jupiter goes direct this week. So we are about to see some forward movement from what it has been that we've been looking at revising when it comes to how we experienced our family, the ancestral energy, the generational energy. So this square to Pluto is causing that friction in the underworld space because we need to really know what's in there that doesn't have to be in there now that we're not in that family space, right? Now that we're also not connected to that 160-year Neptune cycle. What have you got in that underworld, Pluto, and can I have some of it? Can we bring it out, okay? So Scorpio energy is ruled by Pluto and Mars, right? So Pluto is in Aquarius and is somewhat ruling this moon. So this inner friction that's happening, it's happening with the support of Pluto. So then we're going to have this bi-quintile energy to Neptune, then to Venus, then to Saturn. And a bi-quintile is that energy that says there's an idea that you need to let go of. All right. So firstly, the moon bi-quintile to Venus, the moon will be at 7 degrees, relationship degree. Venus is at 1 degree of Aries, right? So in order for us to, Venus at 1 degree of Aries, take up space, being who we are, love on ourselves, show up as us, start this new journey, we need to understand the underworld Scorpio component, right, that holds on to all of these mentalities in relationships, 7 degrees, that cause these emotional programs, the moon, and affects our sense of worth, Venus. Then we have to take that idea of that we're letting go of, and we go into the moon and Saturn in a bi-quintile. Now, this is a transformative 8 degrees Scorpio degree, 2 degrees Taurus degree. So it's about your worth, but be careful you're not being stubborn because it does have a bit of stubbornness written all over it, this bi-quintile. And it is saying like you needing to let go of an idea, of course. And this is going to be one that affects your value system, how you criticize yourself, how you discipline yourself, and how you see your worth and how that gets in the way. All right. So we get the bi-quintile to Neptune saying like, we just let go of these like traumatic shit from the past, right? Those first two to Neptune and to Venus are saying the same thing. It's all happening at the same time, right? Neptune is showing us that like we're moving into this new part where we're not carrying with us the trauma from the past 160-year cycle. So what is your value? What is your worth? How are you wanting to start this off, right? Then we get to that 757 sextile to Lilith, which is going to help us really transform through keeping an open mind. All right. Now, if I haven't said this enough during Mercury retrograde, if you haven't been paying attention, you have no choice but to keep your mind open. Mercury retrograde is not anywhere near logical facts back then. Mercury retrograde, normally, just when it retrogrades, it's about the revision of these inner mentalities, right? Information, the revision of things. When it's in Pisces, it's basically a batshit crazy. All right. So keep an open mind because it's like you don't know how they're going to come and tell us this information, right? So the semi-sextile to Lilith, keep your mind open because there are parts of you that you've rejected so fucking hard that you don't even know you've rejected those parts. And this energy is trying to show you what they are. So then when we get the trine to the node and the trine to Jupiter, these are like harmonious aspects. Now, that 8 degree one is obviously working within that Scorpio energy of death and rebirth and transformation and We are dealing Scorpio Pisces, so that could be a bit of a kind of vibe. Like you might find logic escapes you at work on Monday as well, because this energy will play into it. But like Sunday is not the day for logical shit. Like it really is not. And I know there's a football game happening on Sunday day. So good luck, guys. May the most intuitive win. So the trine to Jupiter, now this one is particularly interesting to me, happening at the Gemini degree. Now this one, Scorpio Cancer. And I did hear something very interesting said about Scorpio Cancer energy when it comes up against each other, and it's very correct here. What is Scorpio in its first evolution? A scorpion. What is Cancer? A crab. What do they both have? Insects. So what are they doing here? Even though they're working harmoniously just under the surface, right? They're pincing at each other. They're pincing. And so the moon at 15 degrees of Scorpio has got its information. That's that Gemini kind of energy. Just be aware of that because Jupiter's still retrograding. We're dealing with this Gemini kind of energy. We're in a little bit of a pincy kind of manipulative kind of vibe. And that might be how you figure out where your fucking repetitive patterns are. You know what I mean? Like someone might just nip you a little bit too hard and you might go, I've actually got information and here it is. You know? So that trine to Jupiter, yes, harmonious, great, fantastic. But a moon in Scorpio, not great. Moon doesn't like it in Scorpio. Jupiter in Cancer, usually great, but is retrograde. So not great. 15 degrees Gemini could go either way, right? Could just have you overthinking about your own bullshit, right? All the times you were betrayed, all the times that you didn't get nurturing, you might find yourself like thinking that was wrong. But maybe it was, but always ask the question, like, where is this negative thought coming from? Whose voice is telling it, right? So the Mercury quintile Uranus is going to be looking at the last 7 to 8 years of your life, go through the information that you have in relation to trauma that may have affected your programming around trusting your truth, right? Now, within that fuckery from the last 8 years, guaranteed, because this aspect says that you have information about something like an untapped ability or a talent or something about you creatively or spiritually that you haven't used, okay? Then the moon trines Mercury, so it's coming on in, right? Like it's got its information, it's like got its little backpack from when it met up with Jupiter, and it's kind of coming in and it's like, hello, yes, I would like to also now provide you with this information. Okay? All right, here is some more information for retrograde fuckery. Now, within that information, we're going to get 11:11 p.m. and we know when that happens. A sesquiquadrate quadrant to Neptune. Where's the pattern? Dun, 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 right? A moon at 16 degrees Cancer degree of Scorpio. Neptune at the Aries degree of Aries, right? Neptune says, I am. And that moon in Scorpio, it wants to feel and it also wants to transmute. So working together, moving into that 11:11, all right, we've got this information. We've got it. We've found something out. And that one, I hate to say it, but the way this week reads, that one could be your first little inklings of someone who has betrayed you that you weren't aware of. And the reason I say that is because this sesquiquadrate to Neptune, right, that's showing you a trigger. That is showing you where you need to make a decision because something's gotten triggered. What's gotten triggered? Well, I mean, probably something to do with betrayal, Scorpio. 16 degrees is a Cancer degree, so not feeling secure, not feeling nurtured, not feeling seen and loved and safe, right? Because of betrayal, the emotions related to that. Now, maybe this is betrayal like in your current life, or maybe it's betrayal from the past. But Neptune at 1 degree of Aries says, if it's betrayal from the past, let it go. If it's betrayal from now, what is Aries going to do about it? Take fucking action. Make a decision. Interesting little fucking day, Sunday. Stay home. Stay home. March 9th. What have you got for us? Look how happy I am about this. This Venus conjuncting fucking Saturn at 2 degrees. I mean, what a wild energy. So Venus is about worth, but she is also the warrior goddess. So she's also about starting shit. She can also be a little bit fucking vindictive, right? She can also start supplies if she wants to. But Now she's in Aries, so she's ready to start some fights, right? A Venus in Aries she's not waiting for you to give her permission to do what she needs. Okay, that's not the energy we're dealing with when Venus is in Aries. And Saturn at 2 degrees of Aries, and he's doing what he wants. Those rules, those bound, all of those. So the conjunction is going to bring them together, but it's also going to have them in a little bit of a, they're trying to work together, but they might be trying to one up each other. So a couple of things that we want to be thinking about, like I mentioned in the opening, is that this is money related. This is money related. This is actually not a bad day to be looking at your money. Okay? Because that conjunction to Saturn. Like if you are locked in, if you have really understood your worth, if you have really worked on your scarcity mentalities, if you've really worked on your people pleasing, then this sort of a day, it's going to help you see the details of the business plan. It's going to help you see how to put it together. It's going to help you understand the worth of it. Now, that will have to have you really overcoming like where your family has probably taught you a certain way to do things, right? This is about you seeing worth, not them. Okay, because when this little conjunction happens, we are going to be in the 4th house in the sky, right? And this is Melbourne time. So we sort of are going to have Venus conjuncting Saturn exact, but Neptune obviously right there, right, our 1 degree. So it's particularly interesting because the way that this talks to the rest of the collective energy is it's really showing us where we let our emotions get in the way of truly being able to see clarity, and stops us from really taking that whole concept of worth into our own hands and making it about us. Now, we'll be working with that transformative Lilith in Sag as well. And it's like wanting us, because Venus is moving into a trine with Lilith, right? So as she moves into that trine with Lilith, she's trying to help us understand our worth and like from a fiery perspective of like, what are we trying to start? But she's also working in harmony with the dark feminine, right? So she's working in harmony with the dark feminine energy and really showing us where freedom is important, really showing us where our truth is important, really showing us where we have to allow a bit of wildness every now and then. And it does also need us to be understanding the underworld space, the shadow space, because this is an adjustment energy to career, to social reputation, to work reputation, to legacy energy. So this Venus conjuncting Saturn, it's changing something about the legacy of worth, the future of worth. It's showing us where emotional bullshit gets in the way. And it's sending us into a little bit of fucking wild energy when it comes to that. We will have Mars will be moving into a conjunction with the North Node as well. So we are kind of being shown under that Venus conjunction to Saturn. We're being shown where we need to shift our programming around how we do shit every day. Shift our ideas around like what worth is, what money is, how we make our money. All of these ideals are floating around while Uranus is still in talk. And so this conjunction is like, what is your worth? Where are the boundaries around it? But also, like I mentioned, a great day to like be looking at the papers. I do not support signing any fucking detailed contracts during Mercury retrograde, especially in Pisces. Don't do it. Just please don't do it. Especially like this is a good day to be talking about it, to be going through the details of it. But this is not a good day to be signing it because look at this 2:41 a.m. sunshine moon at 18 degrees. A moon at 18 degrees of Scorpio talking to a sun at 18 degrees of Pisces. Scorpio is about fucking betrayal. 18 degrees is devil degree. And then Pisces is about illusion and 18 degree devil degree. Just hold on. Great day to talk about it. Great day to draw it up. Great day to get the details down. Sign it? No, not a great day for that. Great day to be like maybe fucking selling some stocks because this energy, the confusion, it could have it in your favor, right? Because it's changing that overall fucking Capricorn patriarchal money worth kind of idea. All right. So as we move through this day, that semi-sextile to Pluto, now we're looking at the motivation, the masculine energy, the sexual drive. We're looking at repressed anger that we've got that we likely hold, right? Now, this is also something that this Mars at 4 degrees of Pisces wants you to look at. And this is why you need to keep an open mind about what's hidden in your underworld space. Because some of the things that we think are hidden in this underworld space, in the shadow space that we don't want to look at, talk about, deal with, right? Mars at 4 degrees of Pisces, that bitch says, hey, there's probably some repressed anger, but that's from trauma from your family line, right? You're holding. So we're keeping an open mind here because there's potentially information in that shadow space that if we can face it, we're going to be able to see. And then that moon at 17 degrees, which is a Leo degree, so the sun is helping us here a little bit. We get this sesquiquadrate to Saturn and Venus, and it's at 2 degrees, right? So this whole day, we're looking at this worth coming together with karma, worth coming together with Big Daddy Saturn putting some fucking boundaries around worth, right? Yes, love as well for some people, but worthiness of love, worthiness of being loved, worthiness of having these long-term, short-term, casual, whatever you want relationships, right? The worthiness of it. And so these two sesquiquadrates are saying, well, like when your confidence gets triggered by something like distrust, betrayal, cheating, right? When you get triggered from that space, we're going into some kind of repetitive shit, right? We're going into some kind of compulsive or obsessive or addictive kind of behaviors. And Saturn at 2 degrees, Venus at 2 degrees, what then happens when you get triggered is you go into this cycle, and that affects the value system of your worthiness, of your worth. Or back to the money component, moon at 17 degrees of Scorpio, Leo degree of Scorpio. When your long-term investment energy gets triggered by ego, that fucks up your money because you go spending it. Okay? Interesting. And then we get the sun trining the moon at 2:41 a.m. So if you are having some wild fucking downloads about money, if you like wake up with like a stock market tip on your mind, I mean, send me a DM, but go check it out. Go check it out because that 18-degree energy, it notices the fucking details of stuff, and it is happening in the overnight space for us. Now that quintile and then that quincunx, that's what we're coming up against next. So that first one, 1201, let's take some responsibility for this Scorpio energy, investing energy. What am I investing in? How can I possibly invest in it if I don't know what's in the underworld shadow space that I could possibly be using to help me out? So we're going to make some adjustments, and this is like a death and rebirth fucking moment because the moon at 24 degrees, Pisces degree, of Scorpio and Chiron in Aries at the Pisces degree, they're going to work together with some death and rebirth after fucking that Pisces energy integrates that shit into our system. And then Mercury trines Jupiter, and they're sort of like, hello, we're both retrograding together. These bitches are retrograding fucking having a little dance in their retrograde life, but actually will be quite helpful because this is like where the information that Jupiter has collected for the past year, almost now that it's been in Cancer, the information that it's collected in its retrograde, the information that Mercury has collected in its retrograde, but also because that Mercury in Pisces is helping us close out the whole Neptune Saturn in 29 degrees of Pisces, it's helping us, input their programming for the brain now, input the logic, input the mentalities behind all of the things that we've healed and looked at and understood and ancestrally released. So this trine actually going to be quite nice, but it could make your brain a little bit melty. Right, this is like kind of a melt brain afternoon. Like leave work early because that moon opposing Uranus that we're going to roll into, that is going to fuck traffic so hard. Trust me, leave work early on Monday because between 4:23 and 10:28 when that moon opposes Uranus. Just trust me. Just trust me because I've seen it in the energy before. And I know that it's gonna fuck the traffic. In Melbourne, it's a public holiday. But yes, it's gonna fuck the traffic. Because why? Because everyone's gonna be driving back from their fucking long weekend. So if you are working on Monday, leave early. Leave early. Because you'll already be pissed off that you were working. Leave early. Because the moon's at 27 degrees of Scorpio. It's got a fuck ton of information about sneaky shit. It's got secrets coming up everywhere. It wants you to stop and just let it do its fucking death and rebirth business. Okay. And because we'll still be in that trine to Jupiter as well, it's like emotional, intuitive fucking clarity in so many ways because of that Mercury trining Jupiter. However, there is also like that opposition wanting to like battle your social reputation from your family's perspective. Now, interestingly, at the exact moment, 4:23 p.m., that Mercury trines Jupiter, okay, the point of fortune in the sky and the sun are going to be at 18 degrees of Pisces. Hear me say this, please and thank you. If you have got like a Venus ruled chart, if you have got any kind of big luck energies around things like your 10th house, whereas if your Jupiter is in Aries or Leo, like there are big energies here. But if you have if you are Venus ruled, okay, this energy, I mean, don't quote me on this because I will need to look at your birth chart, but this is a very lucky day. This is a very lucky day because we are starting off this morning space having this new energy in of work, of money. And we're ending the day with this trine that happens while the point of fortune and the sun are at the devil degree. This is kind of the collapse of everything that you've thought was the way to be when it comes to money. This energy is going to challenge the absolute fuck out of wealth hoarders. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of their fucking stocks get absolutely fucking owned throughout the next week. Okay? Just be careful because you might wake up in a bit of a bitch of a mood. All right? This sun trine the moon, like a trine is a moment of harmony, but 18 degrees is like a moment of harmony in being a fucking betraying, sneaky, manipulative fucker. There's someone there though, so maybe you'll be seeing some of that. Maybe you'll see some of that. Those of you who have been betrayed, because this is very close to 3 a.m., that's like witching hour fucking time. So like you might be dreaming about those fucking betrayals, right? Which, if that is you, right, this next aspect, take responsibility, says the Capricorn degree, Scorpio moon, and take responsibility for these underworld spaces, this shadow space, and go in there and fucking get yourself back out of there. Because fuck this betrayal trauma bullshit, right? Let's make these adjustments, 3:26 p.m. to that childhood wound. Let's literally integrate, understand, and move through it. Mercury trines Jupiter, now we fucking understand, even if it is only spiritual understanding. And then the moon opposes Uranus, and like we are fucking shit up. Do not make, hear me now, okay? Don't make any investment decisions on March 9th in the evening. If you're selling stock, yeah, go for it. But don't like put money into anything. That energy is very unstable for that. Very unstable. And like the South Node is in the second house when that fucking energy happens. So it's like trying to get you stuck in the old mentality. Don't fucking do it. All right. right, March 10th. Look at this fuckery. What have you got for us, March 10th? So, starting off with the moon in Sag. So, a little bit more optimistic. The last day that Jupiter is going to be in retrograde. So, here comes fucking Saturn, moon, 0 degrees. Let's come and have a little chat. Thank you so much, Jupiter in Cancer. What have you got there? What information have you got? What can I learn from that? What's the higher learning that I can take away from it, right? 3:33 a.m. by Quintal to Chiron. Let the fucking ideas go that you got from the childhood work. Trine to Neptune, trine to Saturn, trine to Venus. Let's work harmoniously. Hey, Sag Moon, we've started building this new thing, this new journey, this new higher understanding. Can we make sure that you and I are on the same fucking page with what we're taking with us on this holiday? We're packing the same shit, right? We're leaving the same shit behind. Sag Moon's coming in now of its 2 degrees, meeting up with Saturn at its 2 degrees, who's just had that conversation yesterday with Venus about your worth. Now, this energy is where you might find yourself, oh, maybe I can invest in that. Maybe this is a good thing to invest in, right? Trying to Venus as well. So now we're starting to understand our security comes from us, from the higher understanding and the higher learning that we've gotten over the last year of Jupiter expanding our understanding of how our family has affected us. Then at 12:13 p.m., we get a sextile to Pluto, right? Be consciously aware of any kind of higher wisdom that kind of comes through. Anywhere that you are feeling secure or you are not feeling secure are going to have a component to this. Something with your mum, maybe there's a part of you that you put into that shadow space because your mum didn't like it because maybe you looked a little bit too free, right? That kind of vibe. 2:36 p.m. this moon squaring Mars. Now that looks emotional as fuck to me, unfortunately, because 5 degrees is related to it's Leo energy, but it's also related to, you know, like your inner child. And Mars at 5 degrees of Pisces is really telling me that some of the ways in which we have been moving is very likely coming from places that we were made to feel powerless because of trauma to our masculine energy or from a masculine energy in our past, right? So the moon at 5 degrees of Sag is trying to make the most of it, right? Like it's trying to be like, what have we learned? But Mars at 5 degrees of Pisces is a bit sulky. Like it's a bit sitting there, like wanting to hold on to its trauma, wanting to hold on to its wound, wanting to like be the victim. But like a moon in Sag is like, victim's not coming on my ride. Get the fuck out of the car, right? So that battle doesn't get any easier because at 3:35, Lilith is going to square the node. So Lilith being the rejected self in Sagittarius, she's talking about the rejected truths, the rejected spirituality, the rejected need for freedom in those things, freedom in truth, freedom in spirituality, freedom to travel, right? These rejected ideals. And at 8 degrees, we're looking for a death and rebirth moment. We're looking for a transformative moment. We're looking for a deep emotional understanding. And the node at 8 degrees of Pisces, there is a transformational aspect to that as well. And the node in Pisces is showing us like where the spiritual lessons are coming, where we're about to walk into these spiritual lessons, right? And that's going to be a battleground, right? That is going to be a battleground because the moon squaring Mars at the same time that Lilith is squaring the node, right? So the moon, the feminine energy in a masculine sign, Sagittarius, at an ego degree, having a fight with Mars, god of war, having a sulk, right? Because of trauma from the past. And at the same time as that, the feminine, the dark primal feminine energy, the wild woman that is Lilith, is in a square, having a moment of friction as well with the future, with the where we're heading, with the lessons we're walking towards, right? Now, when that happens, let's see, where's everyone going to be? So when that happens, so Lilith and the moon are going to be moving into a conjunction because you see they come into this conjunction down here. So they're moving into a conjunction when we are in between this energy here. So they're really going to be pushing buttons on places that you were made to feel powerless as a child. They're also very likely going to be showing you like how things how rejecting your emotional self from the past, right? Like in the past, the rejection of your emotional self that has come from this programming from childhood, how that has led you to do things in groups of people or with your friends or teams at work that you fucking regret. So big energy could be coming through in regards to regrets, in regards to all of these feelings. And it's trying to work with, this inputting of a new value system, but we might feel like ready to fucking fight. Like, and we also might feel, some of you might feel, especially Venus ruled people, like Libra rising people, Leo rising as well. You're not Venus ruled, but you do, there is an aspect to that energy that is similar. But like in a hair cutting kind of energy, I'm just saying. I'm just like, it's like mum wouldn't let me shave my head, shave half my head and dye it blue when I was a kid, and now I'm gonna fucking do it. You can't stop me. And if that's you, I want you to tag me in a post. I swear to God. If anyone shaves their head, half their head, and dyes it blue, and you don't fucking show me, I'll be really sad about that. So please show me. So Venus then sextiles Pluto. I don't even. Like Venus is looking for security, right? She's not here to ask for fucking permission for it, right? 4 degrees, Cancer degree. I'm here for security. I'm here for nurturing. I'm here to be me, right? For me, to do what I want to do, to get fucking fired up, right? Now, Pluto, king of the underworld, power, fear. We're making this conscious effort now that we're like in this secure 4 degrees Aries Venus energy. We are going to then take that security and we're going to go on a little exploration mission into that underworld space. Now, this is likely to be something that is affecting like your day, because when this happens, 5:51 p.m., Pluto is going to be in the 6th house. So there's a component of that is your physical life. Now, Venus will be at 4 degrees, Saturn at 2, Neptune at 1. So they are still all conjunct there in the 8th house of transformation. And they are like working with that Lilith and the moon conjunction as well. So these things are all connected. And again, there are adjustments being made in our external reputation about how we're being seen, right? And it's coming from this point of view of needing to like notice the details and put it and like heal yourself in a lot of ways. So yeah, you could be really dealing with it, like wanting to change something about how your reputation appears. And it might be that rebellion, like this, the inner teenager rebellion that you never got to have could very likely come up with this fucking energy. Because Venus in Aries, ready to fucking go, ready to start shit. Like I don't need a plan. Aries doesn't need a plan. We're just going. So if my worth is up, if I'm feeling good, then we're fucking going. We're going to move. We're going to make the transformation being asked, and we're going to fucking go and get it, right? Now, at the same time, like 5:51 p.m. when Venus sextiles Pluto, be careful. Be careful, because fated moment in the sky, okay, is going to be at 6 degrees, which is a Virgo degree, which is related to the 6th house, which is related to your physical body, your physical world. If you've got a Cancer 6th house placement, or you are a Cancer energy person, or an overly Pisces energy person, or a Virgo, please trust me when I say this, be especially careful of the food that you're eating, of your guts, and of your feet. I've seen it before. I have seen it before. So just be aware of that. Because the vertex and Mars being conjunct at 6 degrees of fucking Pisces, that will be where in the 7th house as well. Like that is a fated moment showing up in a relationship that is asking you to take action in your everyday life. And that has an effect on how people see your reputation based on the ways you criticized yourself in the past and what your fucking comfort zone is, right? You're being forced out of your comfort zone. Forced out of your comfort zone, forced into your primal energy, right? So if you are at work, it could be a blow up at work because the rebellion of the primal masculine and the primal feminine are being triggered in the actual everyday space. All right, be careful on the road as well. But That can be a be careful, please be careful. Please be careful on the roads. So we get to 7:30. That's my problem still, if not yours. We get to 7:31. The sun comes in, shining its light into the underworld space, asking you to really let go of these ideas that are unbalanced, right? Where the give and take is fucked up, where the give and take is not right. The give and take because of, maybe you're a people play, maybe you've been people pleasing because like that's kind of what you were taught in the past, or maybe like someone keeps taking from you, right? But there's something within that underworld space that you can tap into. You just have to go and find it, right? Then the moon's going to square the node, Sag moon, nodes in Pisces, and Sag just kind of like discomfort zone. Where? Like, let's go. I want to get it. And then this fucking moon conjunct Lilith. I'm excited about this. This one's for the witches. This one's for the witches. If you can get yourself on a little trip as well, just because, and I say that after I've told you to like be careful on the roads, but this moon conjunct Lilith is pretty fucking magical for higher understanding of spiritual, because Sagittarius is about a higher understanding, a higher learning, higher wisdom. 8 degrees, the Scorpio degree. So yes, the moon is going to be squaring the node, but it's also conjunct with it. So it's really allowing us to have both the seen and understood side of our emotions and that rejected side of our emotions are really kind of everything of our emotions, all of the feminine energy thing. Now, when that happens, when the moon conjuncts Lilith at 8 degrees, that's actually going to be happening in the second house. So that's going to be really helpful for our self-worth. So just as a repetitive fucking record, these are the energies that relationships that are fucked and unbalanced fall apart, because the parts of us that allow ourselves to be treated that way are going to be shown, and we are not going to be able to unsee them. And then that next aspect at 8:56, that biquintal to Jupiter, that is like connecting the fucking dots with your value system that you've been using to decide your worth and the information that you've gotten from your ancestral generational fucking energy. So really telling us to let go of that idea if we want to move forward into a better place, right? And then, of course, sesquil quadrant to Chiron. Like, if you want a higher understanding, Sagittarius, of your values, 9 degrees, in this emotional space, right, of your emotional values, of your higher understanding of your emotional values, you need to understand that when your truth gets triggered, your childhood wound takes over. So March 10th, what a fucking day. What a day. Good luck, March 10th. Good luck. All right. I will just add while I'm scrolling down here that like people born like in the first, I'm going to say 10 days, and this is my experience, the first 10 days of Pisces season, people born in that, right? Lots of astrologers will say it, that you're fucking crazy. I would like to point out last March, right, which everyone who I've spoken to about last March was fucking crazy astrologically. Was intense for most people. So this March, look at it. If you've been paying attention, you can see. So when we say, oh, people born in the first 10 days of March are crazy, this is fucking why. This is what they're born under. Okay, this complete fucking nightmare. So March 11th, what have you got for us? And like you look at that and you think, oh my God, that looks so easy. So the good thing about this day is Jupiter goes direct. Isn't that nice? Jupiter's going to go direct to 15 degrees. We're going to be able to really make these adjustments to this higher understanding of the information we have in our emotional system. The moon squaring Mercury, that's a bit of a fucking stubborn wake up, because 13 degrees is an Aries degree and the moon in Sag is a bit fiery anyway. Mercury still retrograding at 13 degrees of Pisces. So now you're looking at the I am component of the Mercury retrograde, how that affected your confidence, how that affected you being able to take up space and start new ways of doing things. And like, this is also Mercury in Pisces at 13 degrees, how much space you allow your spiritual self to take up in your understanding and in your communication. So this could be a battle that you are waking up to or to a fight of like religion or belief system or spirituality. But be careful, because Mercury in Pisces retrograde is a fucking deceitful liar in so many ways. So we get that little square, we get this adjustment energy to Jupiter. 6:34, keep an open mind, let go of these ideas that are out of balance. 19 degrees, give and take, Libra degree. Then this, Sun square the Moon, 8:38 p.m. at the Scorpio degree. At the Scorpio degree, mate. Jesus Christ. So something is transforming here, right? Because 20 degrees being the Scorpio degree. And it's trying to transform, like, yes, your emotional space, but there is a component to it that is about your communication, or and it's likely both of these things, actually, now that I'm about to say these words out my mouth. So the Sun at 20 degrees of Pisces, when it makes this square to the Moon at 20 degrees of Sagittarius, it's also in a loose trine with Jupiter, right? So Jupiter will be like moving forward now. But Jupiter is going to be in the 10th house, which is about our career and our legacy and our social reputation. And the Moon is going to be in the 3rd house, which is about our communication, but it's also about our siblings, our neighbors. It's also about early education. So this is where we are going to see the result of holding on to truth from early education, holding on to like trauma that came through that time, holding on to both the trauma component, right, the Moon component, and how we experience the world, the ego self, the Sun component, right, and understanding the effect that how we grew up, early education, the communication between siblings, the communication between like not close people, but like neighbors, right, that kind of a connection, how that impacts our expansion. Right? How trauma gets in the way of our expansion towards our proper legacy. So fun. Super fun, and not at all heavy. I would also see this as some relationships getting fucked, because at the moment that this happens, the vertex is going to be conjunct Venus, basically right on the fucking DC, which is how we relate to other people. So yeah, I can really see some relationships taking a fucking beating this week. And I will say it probably needs it. Okay? It probably needs it if that is what is occurring. Right? Let's move on. March 12th. What is fuckery? Starting off at 4:12 a.m., trying to Chiron, 24 degrees. That's a nice healing aspect in the dream space. Still sleep, but most of the spiritually sensitive people that I've been talking to, what the fuck is sleep? Thanks so much. Mercury Pisces retrograde. Then we are trying to take up space with this higher understanding of who we are, and we're being really given some good motivation to like stop being so passive when it comes to relationships and what we want, and to stop being sulky, right? Remember we had a couple of days ago where it was fucking sulking around? This one, not as sulky, but Mars 7 degrees of Pisces, it's going to be dealing with like idealizing relationships. It's going to deal with passivity in relationships. It's going to deal with repressed anger, trauma coming out in relationships. But the Moon in Sag at 25 degrees wants you to take up some space with your truth as well. Now, 8:45 by quintile to Lilith with Jupiter. What a fucking wild energy that is. Jupiter now direct, moving forward. So working with Lilith here and saying, hey, you need to let go of all of these bullshit values that make you reject your own truth that you got from your family that I've just shown you over the last almost a year. Let that shit go. And when you let that shit go, the Moon then comes in and says, hey, so 26 degrees, Taurus degree, you want reward for the hard work, you want money, you want stability, you want to have a nice, beautiful physical experience, okay, then you need to look at what's making you uncomfortable or what's making you fearful about stepping into this new version of you. And then let's make some adjustments to our security quincunx to Uranus. Thank fuck Uranus is at 28. Uranus at 28 degrees, Cancer degree. I am much happier with that than when it was at a Gemini degree. Okay. This one, I don't mind. That means we're 1 degree off the critical. Not great, but that means we're almost fucking down to Taurus. Everyone's fucking money themselves fucked down. So let's make some adjustments now with our security of where we are, with our security of our work, with our security of our home, our space, our things that we enjoy, Taurus related things, right? The beauty of things. Let's make some adjustments in these spaces of accepting our truth and feeling secure and then making these changes, right? Now, the moon will be void from 4:12 a.m. when it trines that Chiron. So that's going to be fucked to start it, right? It's going to stay void for most of that morning space. Then it's going to jump into, which that's going to be, what, 3 o'clock in the afternoon probably. So we're going to be void for like that whole morning space on Thursday. And then it goes into Capricorn. So then we get a little bit serious, a little bit cold, a little bit kind of turn off your feelings a little bit, get some fucking work done. And the first thing it's going to do is going to have a chat with Mercury at the Pisces degree of Pisces for its retrograde on the 12th. 12. Isn't that interesting? So everything's by design. So there is something that the Mercury retrograde is trying to show you, and the moon in Capricorn is going to bring some focus to it, right? It's trying to show you where there is this magical spiritual ability that you have. There's no other way to read that. The reason that you don't trust it, the reason that you don't know it's there, the reason that you don't want to connect to it, it's got to do with your family and the way you grew up, and it's also got to do with your energy around being stick in the mud, and your manipulative ways in which you convince yourself that spiritual magical things aren't real. Okay, so be prepared to have your belief system shattered. Okay, just say, hold on to it for fierce life, because we all know that when you hold on to things for fierce life, energies like this square to that. Right, so 6:02 p.m. What a fun night. The moon squares Neptune and squares Saturn, and it's Capricorn moon. So square to Neptune, that's a pretty serious way of talking to Neptune, because it's sort of saying I am degree, right? 1 degree, Aries degree, I am. Here I am ready to start. Capricorn, focusing, setting a plan, moving in a slow and steady kind of way, right? But also protecting. So it's kind of here. And Neptune in Aries, Neptune, a bit foggy, Aries, fire, right? Fog and fire. And Capricorn's very grounded. So the little battle is because Capricorn is kind of saying here to Neptune and Aries, like, we need to calm this shit down a little bit. Like, you're all fire and you're all gas and fire. And we need to bring some grounding to this. We need to actually ground some of this feeling around who the fuck you are going to be in this next cycle. Then we get a square to Saturn, a little bit of friction, and this could actually be a bit of an argument with authority, all right? Maybe with your dad, but somebody of authority in your life, it could be. It might not be an argument. It might be, someone saying that idea that you're having is fucking dumb. You should throw everything into it. Now, whether or not they're correct, that's up to your own individual birth chart and situation. But this is trying to cause an inner friction so that you can ground something in focus and responsibility. And, it's allowing conversations to be had about it, but those conversations could be a bit, all right, and fiery. Because Saturn in Aries does its karmic energy very. It doesn't in a way. Then 11:11 p.m. by quintal 2. Let go. Now this is the moon at 4 degrees, so again back to that energy of security and family space growing up, right? Capricorn, take responsibility, learn the cold hard fucking lessons in life and move on. And Uranus finally at 28 degrees is now looking at the parts of the last 8 years where your security was triggered. Right? We take responsibility for that in a way of letting it go. All right. Friday the 13th. What have you got for us? I mean, adjusting. The moon makes a semi-sextile to Pluto at 4 degrees, and it says keep an open mind about some of the ways in which you pack stuff up into the underworld space. The moon squares Venus at 7 degrees, and that is a relationship degree. That is a Libra degree. Libras, you're going to fucking feel this hard. Libra friends, moon squaring Venus at 7 a.m. on Friday the 13th, because your Libra energy is part of this as the 7 degrees. It's also in opposition with Venus and in square with Capricorn. So this is friction for Libra energy people. Cancer energy people too. This is friction. This is internal friction asking you to take responsibility for being you in relationship dynamics, for standing up for you in relationship dynamics. This could also be a bit of a fucking battleground as well. This could be a battle of authority. It's more likely to be a battle of someone who is mature and someone who is immature, or a masculine to a feminine. All right. Then 7:15, 8:54, these two sextiles with the moon at 8 degrees. So transformative degree, Scorpio degree. Mars at a Scorpio degree of Pisces, I fucking hate. I hate it. That breeds manipulation just hard to me. That is, I don't like it. So an 8-degree Capricorn moon is quite literally asking you to take responsibility, but it's also really wanting you to make like a focused investment, right, into yourself. So Mars at 8 degrees of Pisces is actually, the purpose of it, in my opinion, is to motivate us into transforming things from an intuitive understanding of what the fuck we want, right? But it could show up as masculine energy, repressed anger, sexual energy, betraying, sneaking around, being untrustworthy, and causing illusion. So let's make a conscious effort during that time to truly understand that the moon in Capricorn is helping us get rid of that shit. Now that's going to be, that Mars is going to be in the 11th house, my friends. There's going to be some friendship breakups. There's going to be some friendship breakups because, you know, the node and Mars are both conjunct at 8 degrees in the 11th house. So where you're going, the transformation of where you're going forward, right? And needing to trust your fucking intuition. And also moving towards a conjunction with Mercury as well in the 12th house. This is like needing to trust your intuition when it comes to setting fucking boundaries and taking action on like relationship dynamics, not personal relationships. This is more about your friends and the teams of people that you're in, and really needing to stop over criticizing yourself and notice the bigger picture, and to really see the way that you are in these like teams, groups, friends, and people, how that has an impact on like kind of compulsive behaviors in personal relationship dynamics. And this is going to have like a big say when it comes to that primal energy again, right? Lilith and Priapus are both at 9 degrees. So they are almost in a square, an exact square with this energy of Mars as well. So a lot of rejected self-wounds coming up, a lot of rejected truth values coming up, a lot of like over speaking, especially from the masculine energy, right? Especially from the masculine energy, like Priapus being at 9 degrees of Gemini in the 3rd house, making a square to this Mars. Fucking do not trust. Do not trust. Don't be trusting the words of masculine fucking energy on Friday the 13th. Like, get some more clarity on it, because I just don't trust it. I don't. Okay, 9:30 a.m. semi-sextile to Lilith. So this year, right, a quintile to the moon. This is going to be interesting because we're at moon in Capricorn at a Capricorn degree, and then the sun in Pisces at a Capricorn degree. So we're like really having to take responsibility for our intuition And we're really having to be focused on our emotions. And when we do that, we're going to find something in that energy that we can use as a gift from the universe that we kind of packed up because we were like worried that people wouldn't like it. So Venus semi-sextile to Mars at 8 degrees. Yeah, absolutely keep an open mind. That's the masculine energy and the feminine energy. But that's Venus in a masculine energy. And that's Mars in a feminine, intuitive, interesting. That's why we're keeping an open mind, right? Because our feminine energy is God of war, and our masculine energy is woo. Okay, keep your fucking mind open. Then we get a moon sextile to Mercury at 11 degrees Aquarius degree. Okay, Mercury is still retrograding, so now trying to show us, some things from the past that need to make sense, where we packed up this Aquarius energy, where we refused to see something from a different perspective, where we refused to show up as ourselves, have our own individual ideas, where we didn't give ourselves freedom, where we didn't understand the collective. A moon at 11 degrees Capricorn, it does want to protect the collective in a lot of ways. All right, it does want to protect. It does want to be focused on those things. So Mercury is like going backwards through that energy and sort of going like, all right, let's explore these ideas, right? Retrogrades are about revision, revising, reanalyzing, and that's exactly what we do. So then we get down to 5:08 p.m. and we're going to be shown through this information from the last 7 to 8 years of like wherever you've been dealing with fucking chaos, wherever Taurus or Uranus sits in your chart, whatever talks to them. This energy is like take up space, 13 degrees, Aries degree, right? Take up space, express yourself, be who you are, and be responsible for it, Capricorn. And when part of you gets triggered into chaos, you keep doing the same thing. You keep doing the same thing over and over again. And that's what we're looking at here, right? Now, that moon opposing Jupiter at 9:10, that's very likely to show you fucking where. That is likely to show you where you got these mentalities from. You've got that idea that you keep circling back around, right? So, oh my God, I can't wait for Jupiter to get up to 15 degrees. Oh, and then we get to the winning day of the week, the ultimate fuckery day, March 14th. So March 14th, where to fucking start, huh? Well, I mean, the first thing that we're being told in the morning that we say close to the node, right? So keep an open fucking mind. Uh, okay. So we're keeping an open mind because we're looking at like balance, give and take, and these sorts of responsible ideals, and whether we're being a people pleaser and like we're really only wanting to take balanced things into this Neptune cycle, right? So this 8:58 Mars conjunct the node. Now I have just had my say about what I feel Mars and 8 degrees like. But conjuncting the node like this, I don't really, it just don't believe it. Like I just don't believe. I just don't believe it. I'm just gonna look and see where it's gonna be in the sky. Yeah. So I mean, it's still going to be in the 11th house. So teams of people, friends, that sort of an energy really being affected by it, right? Mercury retrograding will be at 10 degrees, but it's still kind of conjunct that energy. And yeah, like that is really picking up on that Lilith energy as well. Like really causing friction in some of these spaces. And like really trying to pull you out of how you've done stuff in the past. Like pull you out of your comfort, making adjustments to how you're building relationships. Like really transforming that. Like the future that we're kind of moving towards is going to be, and this is involving a lot of relationship style. And so, what sort of relationships are you wanting in the future? What makes you nervous about changing the way that you want relationships to be in the future, remembering that Venus said to us at 1:51 a.m., keep an open fucking mind. All right. Now, the moon quintiling Saturn, like, we need to put something in order here. We need to understand something. We need to, like, be focused and put some effort in when it comes to a higher understanding of this emotional space and of what needs to be protected for us, right? And Saturn at 3 degrees of Aries is offering this opportunity to really kind of play around a little bit with these values that we are putting in. So then at 9:41 a.m., Venus trines Lilith. This is another magical one, I think, for the witches, because it's about worth. 9 degrees of Sagittarius degree. Aries energy is very fucking intuitive. So this is like a higher understanding, connection with that intuition, being able to put that into your value system and to really stop rejecting your own truth, your own understanding, your own spiritual self, and put values around that. And this is going to be happening like in the house of transformation as well. So something needs to be transformed. And again, this component of the energy of this part of the Mercury retrograde, it has a lot to do with friends, relationships of both the very close personal kind and then of like the work team friend kind of space. All right. And Venus is going to be in the 12th house when she makes her trine to Lilith. So she's really speaking from the subconscious. She's really in that magical, 9 degrees being about our spiritual beliefs, about our higher beliefs and understanding of ourselves. And so being that she's going to be in the 12th house as well with both Neptune and Saturn, there is this energy of like the restart coming from within so that it can come out and be part of our physical reality. And so she's reaching out to Lilith, who isn't really part of our physical reality because she is like the dark side of our moon, right? She feels emotions on the other side that we don't often want to look at because she's feelings like guilt and shame and rejection and misunderstanding. And so she's over there trying to transform values, trying to transform how we allow ourselves to believe our own truth, how we allow ourselves to want freedom in so many ways. And, with Venus at 9 degrees of Aries, working in harmony with this energy, we're truly building this new sense of worth from understanding both our shadow and light. And we're sort of being shown that when our subconscious worth, our ideas around our subconscious worth get triggered, right? We're being shown where that causes a pattern and how that's related to the family space and how that came from whether or not we felt safe and secure to speak up when we needed something. Now, then the sun's going to sextile the moon, all right? And that's happening at an Aquarius degree. So this would be pretty close to the third quarter moon. And I'm not sure if that's it. Mercury retrograde, I can't access all my filing cabinets, but this could be the third quarter moon. Hold on. Third quarter moon was the 11th and the 12th, so this is the other side of it. So this is the part of it where we've like made that final kind of check-in, right? Because the last quarter moon is like, it's the one where you go, so I'm like 3-ish weeks from the last moon that we had. How am I traveling? How is this coming together, like from the last new moon? What seeds did I plant? Did they work out? Is that where we're at? So this is that check-in. And that last new moon that we had was the eclipse. It was the new moon in Aquarius eclipse. So this sun sextiling the moon at the Aquarius degree, we're trying to look at from a different perspective some of the things that we were looking at back then, right? So think back to the 17th of February, that was when the eclipse was, and the 2 weeks before that, this sextile is now saying we need to make a conscious effort and take some conscious action with ensuring that we are looking at all of these things, trauma related things, Capricorn related things, how we were raised, what the rules were, how that affected our emotions, how that affects the sort of work that we think we're supposed to do, how much work we're supposed to do, whether or not we ourselves Pisces, right? So this sextile is really bringing in a lot of the things that have come up over the last month and kind of asking us, it's like, let's go wrap it up. We're almost done because we're about to have a new moon in Pisces. So wrap that shit up. We're almost done. And so then we get a semi-square to the node, a semi-square to Mars, a semi-square to Lilith, and all of those bitches are saying let go of an outdated idea. And that first one is because we're looking at it from a different perspective. So when we look at, the North Node, where we're going, what the lessons are, when we're looking at that from a different perspective, we can kind of let that go, right? We can let go of some of the fear. Then when we are letting go of some of these values that we have around how we choose to believe our spirituality, how we have integrated some of this energy of non-believers or logic only or scientism or materialism, how that sits. Those ideas also need to be let go of now, right? And thank fuck Mars will be at 9 degrees of Pisces. So we're a bit more in the understanding and the getting shit done and the wisdom kind of component of it and less in the manipulation that I fucking hated. So then the semi-square to Lilith is trying to help us integrate and understand because, of course, the moon is going to be semi-square Mars and Lilith at the same time. So the masculine energy and the dark feminine at the same time and also squaring Chiron. So the childhood wound space, the values that you've set from rejecting your own truth and how you move forward with your masculine energy and how it relates to your values around intuition and creativity and spirituality, right? And that is sort of saying you need to let go of these ideas and I'm going to cause some inner friction until you fucking do. And then 5:54 p.m., the moon makes the semi-square to Mercury, and that is now at 10 degrees of Pisces, Capricorn degree, all right? So we need to now be focused and taking responsibility for the fucking mentalities that we are trying to shift. And we're going to do that by letting go of some of these old, stubborn, dad said so kind of vibes, or like there's no way that can be true kind of like overly earth logic based masculine patriarchal energy. And we are letting go of that and we're going to be allowing a little bit more of spiritual in, okay? And then when we do that, 10:18 p.m., quintile to Venus. Here's some information I've got, Gemini degree, Capricorn moon. And I'm now looking at these values around worth, relationship, getting to start a relationship with my values, getting to get what I want when it comes to value and worth and self-love. Like I can see this more clearly now, right? Now that I'm allowing emotion and intuition and spiritual energy to help me with my mentalities, right? Because it's not just logic, it's not just mental. There is all of these other faculties that need to be brought into play. And when we get to this quintile, that's kind of what it's doing, all right? And then the moon trines Uranus, 28 degrees, Cancer degree, all right? So we are sort of being a bit protective and nurturing yourself in that emotional space while Uranus kind of shows us some stuff, right? Like it's going like, hey, baby, like I know there was some chaos in this spot for the last 8 years. We didn't feel nurtured or safe or anything like that. We've got all the information we need to really care for ourselves now. And that's what we do. Okay, we're going to look after ourselves. 28 degrees is also great because it's one away from 29. And when we get to 29 and then Uranus fucks off out of Taurus. Thank you so much. All right. Last aspect of the week. What a fucker. Mars squares Lilith. Jesus. And like that's 11:01 p.m. Melbourne time. But that is the middle of the fucking day to the other side of the world if you get what I'm putting down. So Mars will be in the 4th house. conjunct the North Node, like separating conjunction with the North Node, applying conjunction with Mercury. And I mean, opposing the comfort zone. None of this week is going to feel comfortable. All right. So this square to Lilith, it is coming for your obsession with looking a certain way, or being perceived a certain way, or wanting a certain type of reputation that has been built on lies, right? That has been built on illusions, that has been built on delusionary value systems that have come from like how you've criticized yourself in the past, the ancestral generational criticisms that have made their way to you. And you're really being asked to take into your own hands that value system, to stop relying on the external. But the primal masculine will be showing up in a relationship dynamic with its new fucking values, talking. And Mars is squaring that. So again, this is an energy breaking, or like if you are the masculine energy in a relationship and you're a liar and you're sneaky and you're manipulative, right? Like your whole values in that space, whatever you're telling yourself to be, is about to be fucking shattered. All right. So yeah, some people are going to have a hard time having to deal with their guilt and shame. All right. They are going to have a really hard time. Okay. And good. So we're being asked to really zoom out on how we've been taught to criticize ourselves and the details with which we do so. And this particular moment with Mars squaring Lilith, it's asking for a higher understanding in order to get a higher wisdom, in order to move forward into a value system that aligns with what you are as a person. Now, at the time of this, we don't have anything in the 9th house of value, right? But we will have, it will be a Cancer ruled 9th house, Cancer Leo. So there is a question being asked about the stability of ego and the truth of what your nurturing requirements are. And that is the energy of the value system when we start making these shifts, okay? When we start having these conversations. And opposing that energy is Pluto and the moon at the point of fortune. So there is this like tug of war that's really asking our value system to stop, really, I'm just going to have to say this, to stop being a fucking baby. Stop being a fucking baby, to stop believing what mum and dad told you about what the right values were, and to align with your fucking self and who you want to be. And it's asking us to take responsibility for feeling secure and nurturing ourselves. It's asking us to rewrite the contracts about what it is to be a person, what it is to be me, what it is to communicate as me, what it is to exist as me in the world. And it's asking us to transform and take responsibility for all of these things and rewrite these contracts, because the value system needs to be rebuilt, right? Saturn is in Aries, the value system, the rules, the boundaries of our existence need to be fucking rewritten. The contracts need to be rewritten. How we see value needs to be rewritten. And so this way to end the week, woo, battle stations. And that is the energy fucker for the week. And let's do a little fucking reading, because that was heavy. Let's get the Obsidian Veil Oracle, because this week is big for the dark feminine energies, for the feminine energy just as a whole. Venus moving to Aries, Lilith in Sag, squaring the nodes, something is shifting in the flat circle of time about how the primal feminine is seen and heard. What do we need to know this week? What's the advice to get us through? I stand as a reminder that mortality's embrace is but a gateway to eternal transformation. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Truth. I mean, this is very much about feminine power, very much about feminine energy, very much about remembering that we are in constant transformation, and that even though we might fear constant transformation because it seems like it has no stability, courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. I'm just trying to find the pages that these are on because they've always got nice little things. Accept your mortality, the contemplation of impermanence, and the recognition of the transformative power of endings, which is where we fucking sit astrologically. They invite introspection into our relationship with death and the awareness of the awareness that life's finite nature can inspire us to live fully and consciously. Even in the face of the unknown and the inevitable end, we have the power to create meaning, find purpose, and live with authenticity. Honor your mortality. Cherish your time and live authentically, knowing that death is not an end, but a doorway to the next phase of existence. That's where we are, in the fucking hallway, walking towards the fucking doorway, right? Don't fear what's behind there because you don't know what it is. That's what all of this energy is about. Not fearing that. All right, Ms. Joan of Arc. Of course, she's the bravery card. All right, what's she got for us? She reminds us that even amidst adversity and harsh judgments of others, one's inner light can illuminate the path to greatness. Just as she followed the divine messages that resonate with her, you can seek your own truth and embrace your unique purpose. Embrace your individuality, even in the face of societal expectations. This can lead to profound transformation and liberation. Ruth! The illuminated warrior is not about glorifying violence or aggression, but rather harnessing the fire within to fuel positive change, fight for justice, and inspire others through compassion and unwavering resolve. That is the fucking energy we are in right now, my friend. We are walking through the hallway filled with the fucking fog of a Pisces Mercury retrograde, and we're being asked to surrender to the intuition and to the spirituality that lives within us, because that is the guiding light that gets us through the fucking hallway and through the door. And anyone who steps in front of your way to tell you that you're doing it wrong, to try and point you in another direction, to remind you of something that's happened in the past, is just a fucking illusion. Have the courage to continue forward. If you would like to book an appointment, you can do so on my website. This fucking bad boy, never mind this, because that is my proof copy. This is the Astrological Journal 2026 till 2027, starting in March, because we don't do it by the calendar, because that is not the cycle that we all run on. It has got one page for every day. It has got the detail of what the fuck is going on. It has got a little bit of a quote at the top. It's got an action and a journal prompt. It has got some very easy box ticking. Okay, you can just tick your little feelings away. You can write down what you're grateful for. You can write down anything that came up in your dreams, and you can write down any other memories that came through. Because this bad boy is going to help us. Because when I say, what are you doing March 2026? And you can just go, 24th of March 2026. Oh, I see. Yes, the moon in Gemini opposed Lilith, and that was this, and this is what happened. Everything is a cycle. If you track your cycles, you can make sense of shit. So that's what I've got for you. And as we always say around here, as much as this week is fucked, March 14th is a huge day. Stay home on the 9th if you can. Be safe this week, please. All right. Stay weird.